Welcome. Step on up. I see you're rocking our open carry, but this is just talking. Well, it's political campaign season again. If I asked you to wake me when it's truly over, I guess you'd have to leave me to die. If you're a candidate, it's about getting elected. And as soon as you're elected, for most, it's about getting reelected. Now, ideally, that would mean promising to help do whatever the majority of the voters wanted and then showing them how you helped to do it somehow. Now, back in the day, of course, you didn't stand much of a chance of getting elected in the first place unless a lot of voters already felt they knew something about you. I'm not sure that the reason for knowing was as important as the knowing itself. Name recognition, reputation, false or true. And the farther back in time you go, the more time that took. You ever see the man who shot Liberty Valance? Now, I'm not saying theirs and mine's the same point, but this one's in there. And you want to see it anyway. One thing that's always been with us is the if elected, I will do, you won't do, diddly do. Nobody's running to be elected monarch. I will support, I will advocate, will push for, cajole, wheel and deal. Saying that's always been too weak and honest. More simple if you just tell people their winning vote means you'll change their world, and then you run for re-election telling your voters that it's precisely the friends of your challenger that underhandedly thwarted you, us, like some sort of coup d'etat that will be voted down this next time with your continued support. And how about that support? Sure, we still count votes, sometimes over and over and over again. But it's become a lot more important, it seems, to count the money that pushes those votes. Money that buys media that tells us about a candidate's reputation, false or true. And you can fact check that stuff till doomsday, but what you find and share will never have the same punch as a soundbite that's carefully crafted by a marketing machine to excite the voters' interests. And of course, you could try to follow the money, but you're going to need more than a flashlight. What they call dark money is legal now. How? Well, because most folks didn't really seem to care anyway, beyond a general sort of notion that campaign money shouldn't be illegal. Well, took care of that. Money remains kind of a lesser issue before the public, but some candidates still stand at the podium and poke that bear. My favorite is campaign finance reform. It just lacks logic. I'm going to win and then change the rules that help me do it. I finally got some big cat donors to bet on me, and in office I can actually work to earn their continued financial support. Why would I want to level the playing field for some challenger who doesn't have a heavy stake horse? And even when it's true, we're back to what I will do to reform it. By decree. So, on the short term, between the hyperbole and the high rollers that the thoughtful mom and pop voters who actually vote can't compete with, in the face of the agglomerating special interest groups, PACs, that spend just enough to make sure their representatives continue to enjoy another 2 or 6 years of Secret Service taxi every day from that townhouse in Annandale to Capitol Hill and back. Frankly, I got nothing for you. In fact, it's worse. All this is going on in 50 sovereign states and commonwealths. And not just in the State House, it's going on in your district elections board, your school board, city council, sheriff's office. To me, it couldn't seem more obvious. This was never intended or expected to evolve this way. The original designer's perspicacity? I think that's the word. Well, they were maybe too innocent to anticipate the magnetism of short-term personal gains over long-term public benefit. They pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to help set this up. I'd sure be surprised if any of them saw public office becoming a bonus-laden career move. So, what have I got? The long road. Back to plan. We, the people, gave over our voice by proxy, by abstention, by inattention, by blindly believing in the shortest form labels, by thinking that my lonely voice will never carry through the clamor of so many others. Well, no, we don't get a mallet. We each get a tack hammer, but we're called to use it all the time, every time. Democracy isn't some sort of savings bank. You don't gain interest when you've lost interest, when you don't take interest. Democracy isn't a fact. Lose the F. It's an act. Are you in? Do you think it's important enough yet? And if you're among those that have always honored the responsibility, not just to vote, but to vote thoughtfully, to be factually informed about the candidates, the issues, the propositions, and the millage proposals, well, God love you. Now we got to see how to get your neighbors to do it too. And I believe for the longer term, it's more important that they're engaged than agreeable. But now we've got to be ready to jump through new hoops. More restrictions on registration, more required identification, longer lines for fewer hours and places and ways to exercise our voting rights. Kind of seems like some interests are already getting real nervous. Maybe less than 100% confident that those slick but hollow soundbite marketing machines are enough to keep exciting us to follow their special interests instead of our own? Well, no, I won't ask you to leave me sleeping. There's far too much to do. I guess I better get back to it. And thanks for just talking.